Hello everybody and welcome to the International FDP on Environment and Sustainability organized by DY Patil College of Engineering, Akodi, Pune. Myself, Sachin Jadhav from Sanjeevani KBP Polytechnic, Kopargaon. My subject is Artificial Intelligence. Let us proceed to the content of Week 4 video. These are the details about week 1 and week 2 video. Week 1 video was regarding providing the solutions to environment and sustainability through artificial intelligence, and week 2 video consists of the list of ISO IEEE industry standards related to artificial intelligence. After watching this video, students will explain the standards related to artificial intelligence. They will be able to calculate the carbon emissions of machine language and use the sustainable standards and procedures for software development. So let us begin with the various standards related to artificial intelligence. In this slide, IEEE standards are listed. The IEEE Standards Association is developing P7000 series of standards for focusing on ethical considerations in autonomous or intelligent systems. The IEEE P7006 standard is for personal data. The artificial intelligence agent describes the technical elements required when developing artificial intelligence ethically and also keeping a human involved in all decision makings. This will ensure that the personal data of user remains transparent even when the artificial intelligence agent is being used. The other standard is IEEE 7000, which models the process of addressing ethical concerns during the system design. 7001 addresses the transparency of autonomous systems, while the P7002 addresses the data privacy process. Another IEEE standard, that is IEEE SAB P1681.1, is related to the standard for environment and social responsibility assessment of computers and display amendments. The other standard organization is ISO, which also have its own standards related to artificial intelligence and machine language. Artificial intelligence includes a collection of technologies, and the newly formed ISO committee has started with some fundamental standards that include artificial intelligence concept and terminologies. The ISO 22989 is related to concept and terminology, while some of the standards are related to framework for artificial intelligence, risk management, bias in artificial intelligence systems, and AI-aided decision making. The new standard in this category is 25010. It is used for the degree to which a product or system can be used or specified users to achieve specific goals with effectiveness, efficiency, and satisfaction in a specified context of use. So these are the various ISO standards related to AI and machine learning. Now let us move towards the calculation of carbon emission by various different algorithms in artificial intelligence and machine learning. Before that, we must know a few of the terms such as CO2 or carbon dioxide. As we know that at the center of climate crisis is carbon dioxide. The low amount of carbon dioxide occurs naturally in the Earth's atmosphere, but when its concentration increases, that is due to the human activity or various other concerns, and this will increase the danger because CO2 effect is on greenhouse gases and it contributes to the global warming effect of the planet. The other term used in carbon emission is CO2 equivalent. Since the other gases such as methane, nitrous oxide and even water vapor also have the warming effects, a standardized measure for describing how much warming a given amount of gas will have is often provided with the term CO2 equivalence. For instance, the carbon intensity of transportation is measured in grams of CO2 equivalent per person kilometer, whereas the carbon intensity of energy is measured in grams of CO2 equivalent per kilowatt hour. Like that. So these are the two terms. We'll calculate the carbon equivalents for the software and its execution. We must know some of the factors which plays an impact on the emission of carbon dioxide. From an environmental standpoint, there are few crucial aspects of training the neural networks that have a major impact on the quality of carbon that it emits, and these factors include the location of the server used for training, energy grid that is used, the length of the training procedure, and the make and model of the hardware on which the training takes place. So these are some of the factors which will impact the emission of carbon dioxide. And in order to approximate these emissions, machine learning emission calculator tool is used to better understand the environmental impact of training of machine learning models. Let us see some of the calculations. For the carbon emission, we have used a formula given over here, that is power consumption into the time of usage into the carbon produced based on the local power grid. So this formula is given by IBM and a ready-made module is also available in the given link below the slide. Consider that we have a computer hardware which consumes a power of 180 watts, and if it is run 12 hours, it will calculate to an 2.16 kilowatt hour usage, which will be multiplied by zero point 0.3 kg of equivalent CO2. This offset is used because we are using the Amazon Web Services for hosting our software, and the final carbon emission will result in 0.65 kg equivalent CO2. As if this model of software may be executed in AWS Canada Central, the carbon emission would be resulted in 0.04 kg equivalent CO2. So this is how the carbon emissions will be impact, or it will be different when we are using different servers in the different location at different hosting services across the globe. Let us see another example. If you are using Microsoft Azure services for our clouds implementation, and if that is used in central India, what will be the carbon emission? So we are using same computer with 180 watt of power, the same time span we are using 12 hours, and it will result in the power usage of 2.16 kilowatt per hour. And here we can observe that the coefficient of the local power grid is 0.92, and the final carbon emission would be 1.99 kg equivalent carbon dioxide. And if the same server or same configuration if you are using on Microsoft others Canada East region, the carbon emission will resulted into 0.4 kg equivalent CO2. So like this, we can see that there are different carbon emissions for different regions as the coefficients are related to various factors like where the computer software is being installed or which type of cloud service we are using. In order to minimize our carbon emission, we may have certain steps such as choose the cloud provider wisely. As we can say that there are many more options are available. We should read their sustainability commitments and make an informed choice. So each of these choices available such as AWS or Microsoft, they will have different coefficients for carbon emission. Choose your region. So different regions are powered by different combinations of renewable and non-renewable energy sources, and we should select a more sustainable region. So Asia, Canada, America, all that are having different carbon emissions and different use of renewable and non-renewable sources. Next is buy carbon offsets. So this is last option. We can produce our own impact or carbon impact by proposing offsetting within the organization. So there are certain organizations which are selling carbon offsets. Means we can invest some amount for buying the carbon offsets, and at that time we can also use that particular carbon offsets. The next option is don't do grid search. So while writing programs related to machine learning, we should avoid searching or grid search types of methods that will establish good values, and at least to the random search instead of grid search. Then next point is to choose the clean energy. Choosing a cleaner and more sustainable source of energy will decrease the carbon impact. So these are some of the factors which will definitely help us to reduce the carbon footprint of our software. Now let's move our discussion towards the sustainability and sustainable software. Sustainability is a broadly used term for the ability of something for long lasting time. The other definition of sustainability is given like that. Sustainability is the ability to be overseen at a steady level without depleting the environmental assets, while the sustainable software can be defined as a software whose impacts on economy, society, human being, and environment that results from development, deployment, and usage of the software are minimal and which have a positive effect of sustainable development. But truly speaking, the softwares are really sustainable. They are sustainable until the user of the software becomes bored from it. And in case of software engineering, we have learned that the software doesn't wear out. Means as in case of mechanical spare parts, they will wear out and they are having a certain lifetime. But whereas the softwares do not measure its lifetime in terms of years. Let us see the lifecycle assessment tool for sustainable software design. As in this diagram, we can see that the upper part is specifying the software. A product's environmental impacts generally occurs through the use of natural resources during the life cycle of a product, and we take this life cycle perspective into account in relation to the software products. At the software level, the production, that is development, use and disposal or uninstallation of the software also has its indirect environmental impacts. We further consider that the hardware needed to operate a software must be produced, supplied, and supplied with electricity and disposed of at the end of its useful lifetime. So it will also have some direct impact on the natural resources. Thus, every software product is responsible for quantifiable fraction of the life cycle of all the hardware product for its operation. During the production, use and disposal, these hardware products demand a quantifiable part of natural resources. Because it takes a life cycle perspective, it includes a social aspect of sustainability. For example, when producing the raw material for the hardware as well as working conditions in hardware production and disposal, it will consume the natural resources. Now we'll move to the next discussion, that is there are two essential flows caused by the use of software products. The first flow of energy through the hardware running the software, that is electricity to waste heat, and second flow is of the hardware through the organization using it, that is new hardware to the electronic waste. The impact of both flows on natural resources can be determined by using standard life cycle assessment methods. If a software product causes significantly lower hardware and energy flows than competing products with similar functionality, it can be considered as relatively sustainable software. Let us see some of the sustainability dimensions of the software. First is the economic sustainability. Cost involved in the development and stakeholders' long-term investment in terms of software and its value towards society is known as economic sustainability. The software must be socially sustainable. That means protecting the common aim of society through the long-lasting software to remove negative impacts. Another dimension is the technical sustainability, which means the characteristics that keep the software alive for long time and flexible to respond the changing technological advancements. And the last is the environmental sustainability, which means satisfaction of human needs through ensuring that there are no harm effects on environment during the development and deployment of the software. So these are various sustainability dimensions of a software product. Let us see the procedure or a model for sustainable software development. Here we can see that a sustainable software for long time users or a process model is given. So in which starts with the accepting the changing requirements even in the later phases of the development. Then deliver the software which are frequently deliverable. Work together means the customer and the developers will work together. They will have trust and support within each other. They should have a face-to-face conversation so that there should not be any misunderstanding while developing the software, and after that release the working software. So here the working software will be tested, as well as if there are any modifications required, they will be done within the given time. So it follows a sustainable development. Then After this working software, there is continuous assessment of the user, and it should be simple as far as possible. There are self-organizing teams in the sustainable software development process, which will reflect and adjust according to the customer satisfaction, and they will provide early and continuous delivery of the useful softwares or updates as and when required. And this cycle repeats, or this is a never ending software. That means a software can be sustainable for a longer time as compared to the mechanical products which may wear out like that. So here we have seen the various aspects of software development and machine learning or the artificial intelligence, in which we have seen various different types of uh, standards that are applicable to AI. We have seen the carbon emission calculations and the sustainable software development process. So we'll stop over here. Actually there are some points remaining. There are certain tools which will calculate the life cycle assessment, and some of the tools like Microsoft Sustainability Calculate, but both of these tools are accessible by the clients who are exclusively using the Azure services. Same tool may be available with Amazon Web Service also, which is providing the sustainability calculations. But according to me, a software is sustainable for longer time when it follows the sustainable software development process. Thank you. So this is all about week 4 video.